Welcome, everybody, to the Car Chronicles reviews with the Less Than Stealthy Ninjas. This is episode 1. Unfortunately, Scooter could not be with us today, but we will have him on future episodes because he is a part of the Less Than Stealthy Ninjas. We have, to my right, Irania. To my back is Neon Xerxes, and I myself am Cosmic Boss, and we just finished watching the new Candyman, directed by Nia DaCosta, starring Yaya.
I'm not going. Jordan Peele.
Co-written and produced by Jordan Peele, starring Yaya. I'm not going to try to say his name because I'd butcher it like ground beef.
That's all
and Tiana Paris, aka Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. Can't wait to see her in the Marvels. So, which will also be directed by Nia DaCosta, who directed this movie. So
we did see that on the thing.
Can't wait to see that. But yeah, we just got out of seeing the new Candyman. I believe everybody here has seen the original.
Yes.
Probably more. A couple of us have seen a sequel or two.
Yep.
From back then.
I saw both sequels.
Yep.
Okay.
The first one.
I think I've only seen the first one and the second one.
The third one was a turd.
Yeah, it was very much a turd. But we're going to base this off of the first film.
But off of the brand new one, the reboot, reimagining, or is it? No, it's more of a sequel, isn't it?
I would say it's
a tire inner.
It's a sequel and kind of a reimagining of the story.
Yes.
That was
okay.
Great. Yeah.
Or like to not get too much into spoilers, they expanded the original story. Because I remember the first one, it was all Tony Todd, great dude. Played.
Before we continue, please note this will be an honest opinion. It is not going to be PC due to the nature of the film, so we don't want any people talking crazy in the comments. This is the way that we see it. That is the film that was created.
Yes.
Let's put it this way: if anybody talking about a social issue makes you uncomfortable, stop watching this video.
Yes.
There you go.
Right now.
Yes.
Because that is entirely what this movie was about. And you could even take it back to the original. That it had those same, probably not all the social commentaries that this one had, but it did have social commentaries of the time.
Yes.
This movie, and are we getting into spoilers?
Yeah, spoiler alert. If you have not seen it, cut this off now.
Yes.
And then come back. Stop. Yeah, once you see it, come back and watch.
There you go. Once you see it, come back and watch this.
Yeah.
This, to put it in perspective and give you the quick rundown, this movie takes place, I forget what year it said, but basically...
at first it was 77.
It showed...
modern times.
Yeah, but the beginning, when they were at the project.
Yeah, they showed us something about a little boy going to do laundry in 77, and how he meets a little black boy, and he's walking through Cabrini Green in the hood, and he meets a Candyman.
Yeah.
Who climbs out of a hole
in the wall and has a hook for a hand, not like a butcher's hook, but like an amputee's hook.
Yeah. Here's the thing, to where because by listening to hey, it's just Candyman come out of the wall, you automatically think killer.
Right.
No.
What came out of the wall was just a man who got the name because he actually gave candy. to children.
And he gave me autism.
Yeah, like he seemed
like something's wrong with him.
There was something wrong with him, but nothing sinister. Was wrong with him.
He was a good guy. They just gave candy to kids, and whatever happened to his hand.
Now, you don't catch that.
No.
In the first part.
They don't give that to you.
You don't get all of that.
You're like, this kid run!
It's a dude climbing out of a hole that is dark and you cannot see in it. And he's laughing and he has a hook and he offers a child candy.
Side note, this hook is not a hook like you think. It's actually for those maybe missing an arm.
Like amputees, I forget what.
I don't know what you would call the device.
But it helps you. It helps them grasp things.
Yeah.
Which could mean he could have been a
medical
vet.
prosthesis.
Yeah, like he could have been like a vet.
He could have been a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you get that later that he may be on the spectrum, but when you first see him,
you're like, the fuck?
Your instant thought is nope.
You're right. Exactly.
Just
that part.
But anyway, and then it skips ahead to modern times. And I think we're in like 2020, 2019 or so on. And we meet Yaya. his girlfriend, played by Tiana Paris, her brother, and his boyfriend. And they're all just having like a dinner, and they're talking, and then that's when the brother tells the story of Candyman.
And
Well,
Helen.
actually,
It was of Helen.
He
And
didn't tell
Helen.
the Candyman story.
He tells
Yeah.
the story
He
of
told
Helen.
the story about Helen.
Correct. Yeah, he told the story about Helen Lyle from the first movie.
The white lady, in case
there
anybody's
you
confused.
go. How she went to the hood, taking pictures and doing like a thesis for her university class, and she got wrapped up in the legends of Cabrini Green and the Candyman story.
Essentially, the story that he told, I guess, was the one that everybody accepted or was told.
Yeah.
Yes.
The locals know the truth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the story that's in the news is that, she went crazy and was killing all them people because she got wrapped up in the whole Candyman legend.
Yeah,
the locals know the truth.
Right.
Exactly. They talked about how she killed and beheaded the Rottweiler. How they went to her apartment. They found her making blood angels
Right. I was like,
on the
what?
floor, and I'm
was
sitting there
wild.
like, I don't remember that.
I was like, wait, did I miss something? Like,
was that a deleted scene? But yeah, so like they say, she basically went crazy. How she kidnapped a little black baby and tried to run into the neighborhood bonfire and jump in
toss
there
the
with
baby
him.
in there,
Talk
like-
about it was a sacrifice.
Right. It's like, what?
What's
But
happening?
Prime example of the game telephone.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. It starts one way and then it gets around to everybody else, and it's like,
Let's
what?
And that piqued Yaya's interest.
Yes.
basically, as you see, is that you basically have, he's an artist named Anthony, who he's lacking inspiration, and hears about the Candyman legend and decides that's what his art's going to be about. But what he doesn't realize is that he inadvertently is helping to spread the legend and bring this thing back.
Right.
Correct.
It never left,
Yeah.
but
It died down a little bit.
he just is bringing it back into the conscious of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was his muse. Because remember,
Yeah.
he told the brother, well, normally you're my muse. You
Right?
know?
Yeah.
Essentially, this movie is not a typical slasher movie.
No.
No.
This is, in typical Peele fashion, this is a social commentary wrapped in horror.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
Beautifully
you
done.
really need to be paying attention. The overall theme I got from this was trauma.
I would say that too.
This is what I was getting from this movie, was unresolved trauma.
And Black Lives Matter.
Exactly.
There you go.
Well, and you know what? And it's black trauma as it relates to racial
Racism.
injustice,
Mhm.
but also within our own household trauma we don't ever want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
As we all,
Correct.
like for instance, we all know that for some reason with the black community doesn't want to talk about mental health.
That's correct.
Yes.
So one thing I saw with this is, like, for instance, the girlfriend, Brianna, Anthony's girlfriend, we see that she has a childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't play a lot, focus really into the movie, but it's brought up for a reason, I guess, to show that she doesn't want to deal with it.
But it still comes out no matter what, because her father was this artist that ended up committing suicide due to his own mental state, and her boyfriend she looks at her boyfriend as a mirror image of her father.
Correct.
In that, and those things that she saw in him, so she was still muffling what she felt emotionally, which is why she was having the dreams.
Right, and that was a point her brother brought up later about how, because she is not an art dealer, she's like,
Yeah, I was confused. They
Like-
were like, curator. I was like, what are you
She
doing?
wasn't a curator. She's
the
like
lady
a-
said something about you dealing with invoices or something. So
well, she's like a not a gallery, like.
I don't know all the branches under artistry, so let's not offend any.
Well, yeah,
wonderful-
let's
Yeah, I don't know
like.
anything
She
about
worked
art
for
dealer.
an art dealer at a gallery.
Well, she worked with an art dealer, and then she had meetings with museum curators, and then
and maybe she was a recruiter for other artists. Like,
well,
they
basically,
were talking about her appreciation of her eye.
We'll put it like this: she worked in the art space. She found talent.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll say like that. And her brother brought up about how you don't need to find all the broken artists who have psychological issues, and basically like imply that she has a long history of doing this ever since what happened with her father.
Right.
And speaking of that, because it's a scene in the movie where I think it's probably midway through or towards the third act, You see her as a child, and she walks into her dad's room, and it's a studio, and he's got paintings everywhere, and he is sitting on the windowsill. It doesn't show how high up we are, but he turns around, looks at her, and says, "Did you know your daddy can fly?" and we're like,
we're assuming second, third floor, probably attic.
At that point,
Yeah.
like we're like, he is high up.
Right.
To imply,
He ain't on the first floor.
no, to imply that he can fly.
Right.
No, this ain't the first or second. No, this is high.
Right.
And it doesn't even show it. And then he pushes himself off.
And clearly he didn't make it because she made the statement to her boyfriend that everybody didn't have parents that cared like that.
Correct.
And stuff like that, like his mom, Vanessa L. Williams.
Correct.
And also, Anthony's mother is Vanessa L. Williams, and she's reprising her role as Anne Marie from the first movie.
From the very first
the
movie.
lady that had the beheaded Rockwaller.
And had her baby taken. And he was, in fact, that baby.
Yes.
Right.
Like, now, if you paid attention to the trailers, not the one with the shadow puppets, but the one that showed which, damn good little trailer.
They were really well done.
But the first one that showed, like, all the characters and stuff, you could gather that from the trailer. Like, that's not really spoiler. Like, you can mesmerized by the bunny shaking his head.
Oh, he is. How does he move with no wind?
So, sorry, y'all, ADHD.
ADHD real.
So, so you gather that from the trailer, but basically, like, and he comes to find out later in the third act that she lied about where he was born and raised to protect him, because he didn't know any of this history, that what happened to him, what happened in Cabrini Green, the hood, nothing. He knew nothing.
Evidence of not wanting to speak about trauma.
Right, I was going to say some more suppression of, how you grew up, and now started at the bottom, now we're here.
Family secrets.
Yeah.
Like, any black person will tell you, there's, like, look, like, you go back, like, a few decades, your granddaddy had a family down the street.
Right.
Everybody had that cousin that lived in the back room at Big Mama's house.
That's right.
So
yeah, it talks and delves a little deeper into all of those things that are taboo in black families, especially if you grew up poor.
Yes.
Or, you know what I'm saying? And
that was probably the first social issue they touched on.
Yeah.
Like gentrification in the hood. And they were sitting there talking about, like, basically, who creates the hood. Yeah. And then they'll beg white people to move in, and then just wait a couple years, and they'll send you all the nice stuff. A Whole Foods. You'll get a gym. You'll get all the nice stuff.
Essentially, one thing I really enjoyed, because in the original movie, Candyman was just a singular person. Mm-hmm. But this one here, this was genius what they did with Candyman.
Yeah,
they did.
It's not a singular person, like the man said. It's the whole damn hive. Mm-hmm. Candyman is like the poor black people's Batman.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's essentially. So why do I say that? Batman fights for justice, but he operates outside of the law, outside of jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. So what we gather as we get to the end of the movie is how I say that, hey, this is the black man's Batman, the black man's Batman. Because how the crazy guy says how they need Candyman. Yeah. And how Candyman is all these different people. If you notice, the different people who were Candyman at some point in their life were somebody who was stepped on by the system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of injustice, mostly a racial injustice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the first Candyman being Daniel Robitaille, Tony Todd.
Yep.
Being that his sin was, he fell in love with a white woman and got her pregnant. Mm-hmm. So he became the first Candyman, right? Mm-hmm. Of righting these wrongs, spilling blood because of the wrong that was done. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember. He mentioned some other people, but I don't remember. But in the shadow puppets in the end,
they showed those people.
But one in particular I noticed. I can't remember this boy's name.
The little boy that was executed?
Executed. That really happened.
That was a real story.
There was a history about that. He was falsely accused of something and was executed. He wouldn't be like 14 years old. Yeah.
Like he was
Candyman.
He was arrested, tried, and sentenced to death in one day? Mm-hmm. One day. And he was like 11, 12 years old.
He was a kid.
So naturally, he was a Candyman. As you see, it's a cycle that never ends.
Yes.
Essentially. And the whole thing with the Say My Name, that's coming from, it's a lot that goes on in the Say My Name. We noticed with a lot of the things that happened in the past year, and so with people who have died under questionable circumstances with law enforcement, you saw the hashtag Say Her Name, say their name. So it's more than just summoning them. It's like saying, you can't hide this.
That's right. These people exist.
They're real.
Yeah.
You need to say it.
Yeah.
Bring it out to the forefront and talk about it.
Right.
Correct.
You know, that's the whole thing about the whole Say My Name. It's more than just you summon the boogeyman and he comes and kills you. No, the boogeyman has a name. You know, and it was the boogeyman was wronged, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
Correct.
Nobody wants to
And
right that
all
wrong.
of the white people in the film were overlooking what it was really about and writing it off and being dismissive about it being, even down to the teenage girls that were slaughtered, who were bullies. They were bullies.
They were bullies.
They were
Because
bullies.
something happened with that black girl.
That's right.
Man,
Trina.
they were, the sounds in this movie
Were great
Man.
and so squishy. It's
you only hear these kind of sounds in like a creature feature.
Right. Like it was great.
There
But
was squelches of fruit
There were
and
lots of
vegetables
squelches.
everywhere.
One thing I think we have to also point out as we see what ultimately what the Anthony's fate was, is that any of us can become a Candyman. When you don't deal with your issues, or when people don't want to help you deal with the issues in the world, just being a black person in the world, you eventually can become a Candyman.
because you are suppressing what's going on around you and trying to create a false narrative and live under that, and eventually it's gonna just explode, and
Yes.
then you're gonna be covered in bees.
Bees, mumps, and chiggers
Oh
and
my God, why did
holes.
they have to make him so
Like
gross?
that was another thing. Like and that was another little underlying thing in the movie. Like when he first went to go look at Cabrini Green, when he first heard about it, he was taking pictures of the old church and stuff like that, and he got stung by a bee on his hand. Like at first it landed on his hand, and then he swatted at it, which do not do.
Never. Bees are like
Do
this. Oh
not
yeah,
do.
bitch.
Bees take that shit personally.
They do.
So it came back around and like, oh yeah, sick. And like
And
from
it
that
was a
point
bump.
on, it was a bump. But throughout the movie, you could just see
It's spreading.
as he learned and how he spread the word of Candyman, it rotted and just spread throughout his hand and arm,
Yep.
to imply that, like, you know, trauma spreads and rots the communities that it affects.
It does.
And
And
so,
his hand looked like a tree. I
Ooh.
told y'all, it looked like a
Let's-
tree bark.
There's something else we got to look at. I just thought about it. We noticed with the special man,
mm-hmm.
how the police beat him unrecognizable.
Yep,
But then we see also what happens with Anthony, how he twists and turns.
yep,
What happens is that when people in the world, you know, I'm not going to be PC
Yeah,
about it. We say we're
Oh.
going to be PC. A lot of times you see when a lot of black people are wronged in the world, you know, and they end up dead, and it's obvious they are victims. They were wronged.
mm-hmm.
The media tries to smear them.
And twist the story.
And twist the story.
Correct.
And make them all ugly. That's what that represents.
Yep.
Why they're so disfigured.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And and his eye was white. I
it
was like,
was
where
milky.
He was full of holes.
It
Oh,
was,
please don't mention this because my teeth went soft instantly. If you follow us, you know my teeth go soft when there's lots of holes. I cannot handle it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm like, oh!
So was that bee a bot fly?
All right, that wasn't no damn bee. That was a bot fly.
That
It
was not
like
a
this.
normal bee. Like,
And
but oh man.
it was very powerful.
But for those of y'all horror fans, who probably don't watch horror for the story or the commentary, you want to know about the kills? The kills in this movie, I would say not inventive.
Subliminal, more so.
There you
than
go.
outright.
Subliminal. They're like, you're not gonna see anything new.
I think because that's not really, I guess, the focus of it.
Right.
Was
Correct.
to be a slasher. Like with the original, that's part of the shtick of the original. is the gruesome deaths of the hook man, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also limited deaths you can do with a fucking hook too.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
like
know, so-
this isn't Jason Voorhees where you're picking up a machete or axe and you can cut off body, or you can your favorite when he hit him with the in the sleeping bag against the tree.
That's just plain funny.
Exactly. So I mean, like
That's
you
just
know.
funny. And also, let's not forget the one where he wrapped the belt around the dude's eyes. In the
Oh
tree
yeah,
and was twisting it.
squoze. You know, but at the same time, I kind of take it also a little bit when he's slitting throats. You're silencing those voices of those people who are not listening, who are not they're just like, I don't give a fuck. They're flagrant. You're silencing those voices. They can no longer speak.
And
So
that's a good point. And also the mirrors. The mirrors are more than just, we just gonna look in the mirror and say the name. It's like you're having to face yourself.
that's right.
You know, as it goes both ways. You know, when you're trying to ignore the problem, you have to face yourself.
That's right.
Correct.
You know, and then like when with black people, when you don't want to admit you have a problem, that you're just something is hurting you, you got to face yourself in that mirror. That explains a lot of like why when Anthony was looking in the mirror and he saw the Candyman as his reflection, but everything he moved, it was like his own reflection.
That's right.
You know, he had to face himself, that trauma. He had some trauma he didn't even know was there.
Exactly.
Trauma didn't tell him.
But at the same time, and I mean, I'm just speaking from, you know, talking to old folks your whole life, you know, as a whole, black people didn't really look in the mirror. You know, I remember talking to my granny, God rest her soul, and she'd be like, I don't really look in the mirror. You know, and that's something that was programmed. You know, you just do what you need to do. And I mean, some black people didn't have mirrors. You know, so now it's like, look in the mirror and see who you really are. Because the mirror won't lie to you. This is who you are. And the acceptance of that is the hard part.
And another like point it made was like, if you don't look in the mirror and you just let it rot and fester, it will eventually hurt those around you. Because remember, there's one part in the movie where his girlfriend comes in, finds all these new paintings that he has made in a psychotic state.
Yep.
And so, and these are some dark paintings.
Yes.
These
They
are,
had texture.
they were yes.
nubbed.
There you go. They had texture. We'll say that. These are some dark paintings. Like you would see these probably in like a horror video game.
Yeah.
Like these would be in a dark video game.
Yes.
Very, very. And she's like, "What are these?" And he gets upset. And he's like, "You weren't supposed to see these." And he's like, "I made a mistake." And he explains what's been happening. And she goes to try to prove that it's not real. And he reacts violently. He doesn't attack her, but he shatters a mirror. And she gets scared and leaves. And that's when little brother...
Oh my God, he was so funny. Kudos to him. Who is he?
I remember he died in Doctor Who.
You know what?
Remember?
When you said it, I was like, he looks familiar, but I couldn't
Remember?
Oh my God.
He was the stupid one.
was,
But anyway,
he
he killed this. He killed this movie. I liked him in here. I seen him in something else besides these two, but I forget what. But like he was protective at that point. Like when they came back, he was like, "We are here to get her things, and then we are leaving." And nobody was home.
And he's like, "Do not come out suddenly."
This man wasn't even in the house.
She was like, "Boy, move!" Like,
she just brushed him aside like, "Just move."
and he's like this big, y'all.
Like,
he's
he
real
is-
little.
Like, look.
But he was not gonna let him hurt his sister though.
No, he was not. But
And I need to send a special shout out, ignoring them two, to the women, because women, black women, stand beside they men, and it's not just a lie, and it's not just that's just no. If you love your man like a black woman love her man, even when he going motherfucking crazy, and you like, oh, this man, he going crazy. Let me see what I can do to try to make it work. Shout out to all the fixer black women who stand firm with they men. They were not married. That was her boyfriend of 2 years. I don't know if y'all caught that.
Yep.
They lived together. He was a struggling artist. She was the one making the money, and she
Taking
still
care of
took
him.
care of him
Yep.
and tried to fix it. So shout out to our black women. Okay, because we don't get enough credit
Y'all
as
aren't
we know.
appreciated.
That's right.
We'll say that.
So shout out to
She
her.
rode with him even beyond death.
Yep.
To look at
She-
the way
she
it
did.
ended.
That's fucking right. So shout out to her, man. Shout out to black women, because we all know that we are
She
very
rode
shitted
forever.
on. That's
She
right.
rode forever.
And she loved that fine, delicious man. He walked around with his shirt off, ladies, in case you were curious. And he fine. I saw him in
But
Black Mirror.
I lied about Watchmen.
Yeah.
He's not Dr. Manhattan, but he is nude in the
Well,
show.
that's all I need.
He's married to Regina in the movie.
I don't know who
Not
Regina is.
movie.
The show is a show.
The show.
Well, Regina, I don't know.
Regina King.
Regina King.
Oh,
actress,
well, you
she's-
didn't say the last name. I'm like,
She's the star of the show.
my mom's best friend named Regina. I don't know who the fuck you were talking about. Shit.
All right, anyway, I think we covered everything. So that'll be it for Car Chronicles episode 1.
Yes.
Like next time, we don't know what movie it'll probably be Shang-Chi.
Yeah. When does that come out?
September 3rd, I think.
Zerch.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a Marvel movie. We'll definitely be back for Shang-Chi, the Eternals, and eventually Spider-Man. But
And the Green Knight is actually out on Prime or
Okay.
something, so we could probably watch it and do like a podcast
There you go.
style. So we could all
I'd
four,
love to see that.
yeah, the all four of us can be on.
Yeah.
So
And
'Cause-
also, Dune comes out October 22nd.
Yes, Dune as well.
I misread the poster.
And so,
I thought it was October 2022.
and I was like, "What are you reading?"
there will probably be a few more. We go
Yeah.
to the movies often.
We
so,
do. We do.
But yeah, we'll have to get Scooter in here for the next one.
Yes.
And so yeah, this
Bet
has
you was a
been.
wrestling movie he'd be in here.
Oh man. Oh man.
But this has been episode 1 of the Car Chronicles
Watch
reviews.
that one Netflix show about the lady wrestlers, if you like that.
I don't know.
It's some show on Netflix.
It's pretty good. I like it.
With the lady wrestlers.
But,
the ladies of Glow.
It's
Something
Glow.
like it, Glow.
It's,
I
it's
used
Glow.
to watch Glow when I was a little girl.
Yeah, it's Glow.
I watched the ladies of Glow. I was like, yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, from the Let's Do Stealthy Ninjas, from Xerxes, Irania, myself, Cosmic Boss, this has been episode 1
Yes.
of the Car Chronicles reviews. We will see y'all next time.
Make sure you comment below.
Yes, comment below, and
If
if
you
you
have any
enjoyed your stay,
questions.
give us a like and a follow. We're also on TikTok and Twitch, and so and Instagram, so you can check us out there as well. Let us know what you thought of the movie, whether you liked it, you hated it, you didn't see it, whatever your opinion is. Just let us know below, and we'll check y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Y'all be good.